allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And if we could have roll call audibly starting on my right.
James Rommel.
Eric Arnold.
Jeff Stickler.
Mark Beadle.
Susan Martin, Rowan Parker.
And then we have minutes from the May 16th, 2022 meeting.
I move to approve the minutes from the May 16th, 2022 meeting.
Have a first and a second. Any other questions about the minutes? All in favor, please, audibly starting on my right.
I wasn't present, so I'll abstain.
I was not present either, so I will abstain.
Aye.
Mark Beadle, aye.
Susan Martin, aye. Rowan Parker, aye.
So they passed. You've got to have 2 abstentions and aye. And reports and recommendations.
No reports and recommendation tonight. I know Joe has an agenda item.
Yep.
Yeah, with the interest of the crowd we have this evening, I went ahead and recommended we move case DEV 357-2022 Sutton Farms self-storage. Petitioner Meta Storage LLC is requesting development plan approval for self-storage units. Subject property is located approximately 3rd mile south of State Road 135 and Swiftboro Road. Currently zoned C3, and the owner is Sutton Farms LLC. This was heard at our last technical advisory committee meeting. There are some outstanding issues as far as verifying parking numbers and off-site drainage. Staff is recommending continuance of this item this evening.
And since staff is recommending that, the petitioner, did you say the petitioner agreed or you've had conversations?
We have had conversations. There you are.
Yeah.
Feel free to go on.
This is for Taylor, so just gotta ask. I don't know.
Good evening, John Beers representing Meta Storage LLC. Yes, I would like to request continuation. We are in the process of addressing the outstanding items brought to our attention by the staff.
And from a continuance standpoint, we vote on the continuance? Okay.
And specify notice.
Yeah, I'm assuming we're gonna wanna give full notice. So does anybody have any other questions about, we wanted to move it up because we do know there's people here. We didn't want anybody waiting if this is gonna be continued. Anybody else have any questions about this subject matter or anything? We're talking about continuance to the July meeting.
July meeting, which is
The 18th.
18th. July, it's my anniversary.
Okay.
Yeah, 24 years.
There you go. So we're basically just, from a commission standpoint, anybody want to make a motion for the continuance, and then do you want to second it?
Mr. President, I will make a motion to continue the meeting for docket 000357, 2022 Sutton Farm Self-Storage Development to July 18th.
And James, is that with additional notice of the public hearing?
With additional notice, correct.
First and the second, does anybody have any other questions about the motion? It's just amongst us, but go ahead. I guess I'm just
Does
asking.
this mean this whole group's gonna have to come back again? Because we're all here to talk
If you
now.
want to be a part of the public session, yeah, we can't have a public notice, a public meeting. Go ahead.
What this means is there's some in-depth technical issues that still need to be addressed, that weren't addressed by the petitioner, so we're asking for a continuance. You have an opportunity to address those. The continuance will move this to the July 18th meeting. So we'll have the whole process again, July 18th, petitioner will have to have notices. I'm sure you all have letters, saw the sign, add the newspaper. So petitioner will redo all those for that July meeting. You're all welcome to come again in July. You're all welcome to send myself or Chelsea an email documenting kind of what you want to say. We will present those to the commission beforehand. make those available to the petitioner, obviously. It's really up to you if you have any more questions. Yes, ma'am.
Just so we know, because this is brand new to me and a lot of.
Yeah.
Just so we know, where are you all in the process of this? At what point are we in this process?
This is the very beginning.
Okay, meaning,
Development plan approval is step one of construction.
okay,
The property is already zoned.
okay,
It's already zoned C3 commercial, which provides for self-storage use as a permitted use.
okay. And are you beyond the point of changing any plans of your development?
I think that's at the petitioner's discretion.
You're still able to do that at this point, correct?
I suppose the answer should be yes, but it would depend on
Right,
what you're intending
right,
to change.
right, okay, all right.
You
And
could say
who would we,
this is
who would we
zoned
talk
already
to
for,
if we wanted to?
storage units are permitted.
Yes, storage units are permitted use in the zoning district.
Really?
So how can you stop it? Don't answer that.
We're gonna have,
Advice not answered.
if I could let everybody know, we didn't know this was gonna be continued. We're like you, we live, we're here in the community. We'll be back here with their development plan. The way the meeting will go is the petitioner will come up and have an opportunity to present what they want to do. The commission members, us, will have an opportunity to ask them questions. Once we get those questions answered, then I will open the public hearing. Anybody that wants to speak will be able to come up and speak, why they don't like it, specifics, maybe some things they want changed. And then after everybody has the opportunity to speak, we close the public hearing, and then the petitioner will address those questions. We will have taken notes, so we make sure everybody gets their questions and comments answered. And then the commission members may have some further questions based on the public input. And then the commission will make a decision on how we do that. And help me, we have 3 options as it relates to a development plan, is that right? Approve or approve with condition or deny is what our options are as the commission. So get any further comments or concerns to Joe, and then he can pass them on to us.
Thank you.
And then we will look at that, between now and July.
And after the vote, I'll come out, probably outside so they can view the meeting and happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. Much appreciated. Thank you for.
Sure, yeah, that's kind of the process. So I apologize. I know summer we get busy and we certainly don't want to come back, but
Some of the technical items have the possibility of impacting layout, which is why we want those answered and worked through before staff actually makes a recommendation.
So when we meet with you out there, we can ask you, it would be nice to have like a plan of where the lots are that run along the walking path.
And we need to know what actually is going in there. My property, literally, I will be sitting on my front porch looking at this. So I need to know what it's going to look like.
Yeah, and I'll be sure unless you have a version, you'd be happy to answer any questions that you can.
Yep, I'll happily answer any questions I can tonight, and take questions that I can't away with me to answer it.
And if you've all signed in and provided your contact information, we'll be sure you get updates on the petition and any changes that might come
And your
along.
name is?
Joe.
Joe, and then your name is?
John Kurtz.
You're actually the developer though.
I'm town staff. I'm the director of.
One other question.
Yes, sir.
What category does this fall?
This is in the C3 general commercial zoning district.
What?
C3.
I know, but what area in C3?
Chelsea, your goal particular land use is, leaves self-storage isn't permitted. All that.
Correct.
All that as
My legislation, warehouse, mini storage,
I agree.
falls under I-1. So I wonder what category this falls.
I don't have the ordinance pulled up.
So this is considered a self-service storage facility. That is what the use is described in the commercial use table.
What table is that under?
Table 6-2 in chapter 6.
Thank you.
We're gonna go ahead, we'll go ahead and move forward with the agenda. You say you're gonna
Yeah, go ahead and vote, and I can
Continue the conversation.
continue the conversation.
Thank you, Jeff.
So, right, first and second. Okay. So again, any other questions amongst the commission? We had a motion and a second. All in favor, starting with my right, audibly.
Aye.
Careful, aye.
Joseph Ware, aye.
Mark Beal, aye.
Susan Martin, aye. Ramona, Barber, aye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joe.
Hey, great, comes up here.
Okay.
Not very high.
So do we want to go to our old business item? And
Sure, let's start at the top. And we know we've already got new business number 2.
Yep.
Off the agenda.
Yep, so, our old business item is the Unified Development Ordinance. As a reminder, this was heard, last month via public hearing. And there were changes that our legal counsel requested, to chapter 7. Specifically, that's all been worked out, and staff had provided, those updates to the commission via email. Our lovely consultants are here, to be able to present those updates and, answer any questions of the commission.
Hi, good evening. I'm Brian Stump with City Blueprint, with United Land Use Stump, City Blueprint, and Chris Ham with HWC. Maybe just a few minor changes. We just have the red lines for those in chapter 7. It was just to bring some of the enforcement elements in line, specifically the Ordinance Violations Bureau's agreement that the town has with Franklin. So we just adjusted some of the language in there, and it was really the one change in section 7.4 and then 7.2 also clarified that we just made it very clear that any cost of enforcement to be placed against the violator of the ordinance, so the town can recoup those fees. Simple change that way.
Were there other changes made besides chapter 7?
No, it was just those 2 changes in chapter 7.
So you did change the fact that cartoonish zoning map was taken out of the original draft we all read. You're just referring to the, what is now the proposed land use map. And then in chapter 6, we had quite a bit of discussion last month about the, what's the terminology, it's reduced minor subdivision ordinance, whether or not it was a one-time use. I noticed you with that, so that it's not restricted to a single use. So those are 2 additional changes. Anything else?
Well, those were the changes. Those were in the previous version you saw that you did your public hearing on last time. So those were, we made those changes before last month's hearing. And to your point, yes, that the cartooning map that was a placeholder is, the draft is gone, and it refers to the official zoning map.
Something that it's just a general question that actually is relevant to what we just experienced in the continuance. At what point, through the adoption process, at what point will the new UDO actually govern? Because had the UDO been in place, that would have been a very different conversation a while ago. Because self-storage is a prohibited use in arterial overlay. this is right on 135, so I believe it fits in the arterial overlay. So the things I'm saying, the folks coming in, sounds like, my guess is that the ordinance as it exists, 2015 as amended in 2017, permits self-storage where our new UDO is going to make that prohibited use.
Yeah. So the ordinance, as there's in chapter 1, the effective date, and we identify essentially there's proven by a couple things. Number one is state law. When publication happens, the penalty phase, the schedule is in the ordinance. The other option we also put in there is when knowing the ordinance is going to be adopted, we put language in there that anyone that's going to be filing can file under the conditions of the new ordinance. Whether that would have any effect of petitions.
So you're saying it's their option?
It's their option, knowing that it's coming through the approval process, because it's one of those things where we don't, it allows them to begin that transition to the new board, which is
Great for the pro side of it, but if you're on the con side of it now, it's the flip side where the town gets.
Do we have any leeway on as far as how we can make this? You said the other one's state law. I mean, do we have any leeway how quickly we can make this effective? We have no leeway. No. So when does it, how does that work? When the town council does the,
Council has to approve it, then it gets published, and then I don't know the number of days. Joe and Chelsea are handling publishing.
Yeah, I don't remember that number off the top.
So state law specifies a certain number of days after the council adopts it.
Probably
That it has to be published.
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate because of enormous effort on your part, on the part of the steering committee, resulted in this massive document. And it actually speaks to that very issue that filled the room
I
tonight.
think it's very appropriate with it being an overlay. This is an appropriate conversation.
Yeah.
It's always a workaround, though, isn't it?
They have already filed their application. There's absolutely nothing for this pending petition.
Not even if it gets adopted in the time period.
We have no
They file.
current overlay that applies.
They file, they have to-
I believe, I mean, I spent
I
some
would
time
need
looking at it.
Confirm that with Joe.
I just can't, it's hard for me to imagine that type of thing is going to be, I mean, just right on 135 as far as the gateway.
The current arterial corridor overlay district does not restrict the usages.
But it will in 3 months. 4 months, whatever.
Yeah, I'm not sure there's an overlay in the existing ordinance, because the existing ordinance just specifies that it is a permitted use for C3.
And there was no commitments that were ever agreed to as a part of that property
I thought it said it was approved to be done. That's,
on the rezone.
yes, that's
Are
what
we going, I don't know if we're going to be part
I
of
don't know what the commitments were.
Essentially, I'm trying to say, let's adopt this. So that we can address that.
Yeah. Well, the sooner you're done, the sooner.
That was
it's
the
gonna
whole
back.
other
We can only look forward.
Just general comment, this is a remarkable document, and I appreciate the modification to the name, help clarify concerns that I had. I provided a lot of feedback, most of which was not acceptable. But, well, you know, it's lesson learned. So it's 24 pages of feedback. I will not spend 20 hours with them again to review a document. But the two most important things have to work. What does that I-69 overlay look like? Is that you proposed? It keeps referring to it as proposed zoning map. It's proposed. When does that get adopted?
It's the official zoning map.
The official zoning map.
And that is, the official zoning map is part of the UDO.
You know, that's not part of the old ordinance. What is currently in place.
Chelsea, when you get a chance, can you find out what those commitments on that rezone are? Perhaps
Like,
Joe.
you know, I'm sorry, I was looking at.
Oh, you're fine.
Howard. But I don't see. This doesn't give us the dates of the process, so could you kind of let
us know when that was resigned.
So that was, C3, when the 2015 ordinance was adopted, with the zoning. So there are no commitments that we are aware of for that
So
property.
how did what was it in the county?
I would have to look and see specifically, what it was prior to annexation.
Would the county have had an overlay?
I don't know at that time if they would have. But when it was annexed into the town of Bargersville, it became subject to the town ordinances.
You know, some of the properties were.
What recommendation the council I have decided? Yeah.
If your suggestion is okay. I think we like more history on what it was before it came into the.
We can add that information to the staff.
Because some properties were changed that maybe shouldn't have been changed.
Yeah, how was it interpreted when that, whatever it was with the county, what did it roll over to us? It's already.
End of the day, though,
It
it's
doesn't matter.
rezoned and
It is what it is,
permitted.
unfortunately.
Yes.
Okay, what else on the UDO?
No.
It's good to go. We have, it's a thumbs up, so, okay.
All of it, just so.
Yes.
I noticed, reading the review language in chapter 7, lots and lots and lots of references to statutes. So,
That was. That's
That's actually a good thing. Okay, so it'll be updated, keep your ordinance current.
again, it's a remarkable document, a long time ago. That's my 2 cents.
Okay, what do we need to do from a recommendation? What is it? Is it we're approving this?
A
or we just
recommendation
table
to
the
adopt.
Recommendation to adopt. Anybody like to make a motion of a recommendation to adopt?
I recommend us to adopt, the new unified development ordinance.
Do you need any other
Do I need
reference?
to say anything else? With it,
I'd be happy to say.
is that enough though?
Yes.
Got a first and a second. Does anyone have any questions? All in favor, please answer audibly, starting to my right.
James Trammell, aye.
Eric Carl, aye.
Joseph Warrior, aye.
Mark Beagle, aye.
Here's a Martin, aye.
Alana Barker, aye.
And Laura, aye.
Thank you.
Thanks for your work on that.
Thank you.
So this goes to council, right?
Correct.
Yes.
At their next meeting?
I think so.
I believe that's, yeah.
This should be adopted by the June.
Do you still have to do like first reading, second reading on this?
Thank you.
Does the statutes allow us to suspend any rules on this, you think, or is that maybe a question?
I'll make sure David knows the answer prior to your meeting.
Okay.
I think probably.
Thank you for that. We're just,
We can suspend rules on certain.
Thanks, folks.
thanks, guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Our next item on the agenda is docket plat -371-2022, Howard Primary Plat. The petitioner is requesting primary plat approval to develop a 3-lot residential subdivision. The subject property is located at 6865 West Wayland Road. The property is zoned for residential. Petitioner is Shelby Howard III. The owners are Shelby D. Howard III and Howard Management Company LLC. The town council approved the rezoning of the property on May 31st, and the primary plat was subsequently filed. The petitioner did submit two waiver requests to the town council for consideration, which were approved on June 14th. This was to permit septic, as well as waiving the requirement to install adjacent roadway improvements, the ACL, decel lanes, passing blister, and a sidewalk frontage along the frontage. This proposed lot one has an existing home that is under construction. And lot two, which is proposed to have 0 feet of road frontage, would use that shared driveway to access their property. And that would be in a shared maintenance agreement and properly cross-referenced on a secondary plat.
At what point does the driveway agreement give? So,
That would be recorded before or at the same time as the secondary plat. So it gets cross-referenced on the secondary plat, and that way it doesn't loss in.
so we do not have to address that.
Correct. What the plan commission on that front needs to address is the waiver request to permit proposed lot 2 to have 0 feet of road frontage. Since that is a waiver request from the subdivision control ordinance, which is under your jurisdiction to approve or deny. Based on the waiver decision criteria, section 1-9D of the subdivision control ordinance, that's on page 23 of your packets. If you're looking there, 6 decision criteria. With that in mind, staff is recommending that the Plan Commission approve the waiver request to permit a road frontage of 0 feet for lot 2. Staff would then recommend that the Plan Commission approve the primary plat with the conditions that all tech comments are addressed and final approval of the stormwater utility board is granted. Petitioner is here tonight to answer any questions. This is a public hearing.
Okay. Okay. I guess we do need to do well. I guess I can do that right into that. Yeah, go public hearing.
Anybody who's planning on speaking from the podium regarding this actual public hearing, would you please stand, raise your right hand, and I'll swear you. You swear the testimony that you're about to give is the truth?
Yes. Thank you. How you doing this evening? My name is Andrew Barcosi with Mauer Surveying, doing business at Barcosi Surveying. This was in front of you guys when we were coming through the rezone, family plus some land, and father's building a house right now on lot 1, so it's going to go on lot 2. They plan on sharing a nice long drive back to their houses. So really no need for road frontage, especially being almost 1,800 feet off the road. They would create kind of a long sliver all the way back through. There's a couple of lots on the other side of Whiteland Road here that have had this. I'm sure they've got the way you reform one of them did because it was subdivided in 2010, but it's pretty common for sharing drives here. So just here, Chelsea had a nice overview of the project. So really here for any questions if you guys have.
Any questions for the petitioner?
I don't think that the tap report just could be addressed.
Yeah, I've actually addressed all of them. They've been uploaded. We kind of file secondary at the same time, but secondary has to go through the next month. So everything's been addressed. We just have stormwater board, which is next month. I just don't see any issues here at all.
I'd like to open the public hearing for docket plat 000371 2022 Howard primary plat. If you would like to speak on this agenda item, please come to the podium, state your name and your address. Close the public hearing for docket plat 000371 2022 Howard primary plat. Any other comments or questions? Anyone like to make a motion?
We need to do the waiver first.
Correct.
Same motion, just in order.
Two motions.
No, I
Two motions, okay. I would move to grant the waiver request on docket plat 371 2022 Howard primary plat, allowing 0 road frontage as a waiver to SEO section 3-4.c.
I'll second. A first and a second. Any questions regarding the motion?
We need to put plat 2 in there, is that understood?
What?
We need to put lot 2 in that motion, or is that understood?
Just in the waiver, in the waiver motion, do I need to specify lot 2?
It's not a bad idea.
So amended.
I still second. Any other questions, comments? All in favor, please answer audibly, starting to my right.
James Ramel, aye.
Eric Earl, aye.
Joseph Meyer, aye.
Mark Pedal, aye.
Here's Martin, aye. Rowena Barber, abstain. Review more time.
Thank you.
So if you're prepared, I'll go ahead and I'll get a motion.
Oh, yeah, I was ready.
Sorry. Mr. President, I would move to approve primary plat for docket plat 371, 2022 Howard primary plat with the following conditions that all plat permits are addressed and final approval of stormwater utility board is created.
Have a first and a second. Any questions? Seeing none, all in favor, please answer audibly to my right.
James Ramel, aye.
Eric Earl, aye.
Joseph Meyer, aye.
Mark Pedal, aye.
Here's Martin, aye. Rowena Barber, abstain. Review more.
Who's our second?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Good luck with you.
You too.
Next item on the agenda is docket plat -284-2020, Morningside Section 7, secondary plat. The petitioner is requesting secondary plat approval for 43 lots in the Morningside subdivision. Subject property is located at northwest of County Road 134 in the Indiana Railroad. Properties are zoned R3. The petitioner is Lennar Homes of Indiana, Inc. This is actually the last section of Morningside that is up for plat approval. For the SCO, factors for secondary plat approval are conformance with the primary plat, which it does, and financial guarantees submitted in accordance with the SCO. And town council accepted performance bonds on June 14th for this. So with that in mind, staff is recommending that the planning commission approve the secondary plat. This is not a public hearing.
I'll make a motion to, if we're ready for one.
Sure.
Make a motion to approve the secondary plat for plat 284-2020, the section 7 Morningside secondary plat.
Second.
Have a first and a second. Are there any questions? You said this was, you did say this was the last section.
Correct.
Okay, no questions. All in favor, starting to my right, audibly.
James Ramel, aye.
Eric Earl, aye.
Joseph Meyer, aye.
Mark Pedal, aye.
Here's Martin, aye. Rowena Barber, aye. Review more time.
Thank you.
So we've got a couple discussion items on the agenda. So starting on page 28 of your packet, it's more just a heads up for the commission. And the town is going through a study on updating our planning and review fees. So that memo has been included for the commission, just so you know that that's in the works right now. There's no action being requested, just letting the commission know that this is in the works. So if you have any questions, whenever Joe comes back in.
Poor Joe.
Joe and Mom.
And then otherwise, we have our monthly, standard monthly project list if you have questions on that.
This Friday, the police station's opening.
They got their temp CMO.
What was the huge explosion that happened outside the police station this last week? We actually drove up there, fire trucks, everybody came, big plume of smoke
I'm not aware of that.
on Morgantown Road. It was, yeah, it like shook places.
Yeah.
When was this? Because I didn't hear.
Friday night, maybe?
I haven't heard any.
Mark, those are utility trucks.
Did not see any utility trucks, just fire blast trucks. You need to find out what happened. We thought it was maybe gas or maybe some kind of electrical transformer, but gas, I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure it was Friday. Yeah.
For the Facebook group.
Just saying.
Yeah, that's smart. I considered that.
Staff doesn't have anything else.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, the reason that Joe was not coming in is because basically we all got shepherded outside during, I understand you were talking about the development of the town, and we were discussing aspects of that out there too. So I don't think that was right. We were discussing not just that aspect, we were discussing the development of the town. And I think it was wrong. I think it was wrong, and I think it was wrong of you to laugh about how Joe's, is stuck outside with poor Joe with the citizens. You're all elected officials.
We're not elected officials.
You're not elected
Or
officials.
volunteers, yeah, and let me address that. We were trying to allow that as a benefit to you. We had to move forward and we wanted to go forward with our regular agenda and get those items done. But we wanted to make that a positive, so you had a chance to talk to them, and then we're gonna go through all of that stuff again in July. From a standpoint of the development, I'm not sure what you're talking about as far as the development. We've had in front of the community for, how long has it been on the uniform development? How many?
We've been discussing it here publicly for the last 3 or 4 months.
No, I'm talking about the unified.
No, I know.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. And it's been studied before then for
Yeah.
6 months. So these are things that's been published and talked about amongst the community as far as the unified development ordinance recommendation.
Well, one of the
And it's
issues,
on here.
we've never received a notice like that. And
This
virtually,
is just our outline on our agenda.
and virtually none of the neighborhood received and virtually none of the people who have been affected, because it's more than just the people who live on my street. It's a whole neighborhood, and it's, all of Bargersville who are going to be affected. And we just got the notice. Of course, this is how these things happen. The notice on the land is like
Here,
this
let
big
me
and covered
let
by
me add something
weeds.
for you. Just let me add something for you. I would encourage you to continue to talk about it. I would encourage you to come back this next July. We're getting ready to adjourn. We're going to be done with our meeting. You're welcome to talk to any of us. Again, we're volunteers. We're selected by the town council. The town council are your elected officials in a town. Those are the people that you definitely want to talk to, or at least make your thoughts known. We make these recommendations. They go to that. But we're going to wrap up our meeting right now, so we're going to be done because we kind of finished our items. We have to walk out here. I'm not trying to hide from anybody. I'd be happy to give anybody my comment, but from the standpoint of our meeting, we're kind of wrapping things up and we're done, and then we can join you and you can talk to us all freely.
I apologize. That was my mistake. I was unclear. It's just the first time I've been to this meeting, and we just got this,
Sure.
letter. And we were told that you were discussing the plan development. And we are all wondering why
We
there
weren't
is,
talking,
why
we
there's-
can't talk about that development.
but where it's even zoned, the bigger issue, why there is, why it's a Class C into
It
zoning
was zoned
in front of
before.
a residential neighborhood.
Was that
Let's-
20?
That's a good question.
Chelsea's gonna find
That's a good question because we don't know that either. So.
We weren't,
It was
part
in
of
the
that
county
process.
before it was annexed into the town of Bargersville.
before it was the Bargersville actually.
And it probably was zoned that
With the county,
county.
so.
So we're sort of inheriting it and trying
Yeah.
to figure it out too. But I know it goes out to more than just your home. Isn't it in the paper? And-
Are you talking about notice?
Yeah.
Yes.
The law requires us to provide notice within a certain distance, a certain number of parcels from the parcel being affected. So legally, they will have sent notices only to that group of individuals. I know in my own neighborhood, and I'm assuming in your neighborhood as well, word of mouth spreads that way beyond.
For example, I live in Somerset, did not receive notice because I am outside of that radius. And Tiers, I'm assuming the same way you didn't get one either.
And, another thought for your benefit, the zoning, it's already been mentioned, that we're fairly confident that we inherited that bit of ground was annexed into Bargersville. So it was under the control of the county. And the general thought process is that along major arterials, and State Road 135 is a major arterial, that's generally where you see commercial development, and you want to keep residential away from the arterial. So it's probably going to be impossible to reconstruct exactly why that was made a C3, but Bargersville inherited that. And then the zoning ordinance, as it currently exists, it has as a permitted use what it is that the petitioner wants to do. We actually are trying to address that and shut that down in this new ordinance, but that new ordinance doesn't apply yet.
Sometimes I
So
think
we're wrestling with very narrow options available to us.
That's why we're doing the new ordinance though, so that we don't have to run into this again.
That's why we're trying to get
Which is
ordinances.
298 pages of fun times.
All right, well, thank you.
Thanks for coming too.
Most of
And we're gonna be done here just in minutes, so, be happy to talk more.
Okay,
on the
yeah.
phone.
I don't know if we're still out there, but everyone was really worked up. And there was a lot of back and forth. So I thought I'd come and see where you were at in terms of the meeting and, you know,
Sure.
and based on what we were hearing as to what was
We
going
just-
on,
we
it
just
felt
went
like we
through
were all
this.
shepherded out of the room.
Yeah.
So that we wouldn't hear what was going on.
No.
Oh, no, we
We
were
do
talking about
that.
something.
We moved on to-
And we do that a lot of times if there's a big crowd.
Out of courtesy.
Instead of
We were
everyone sitting
talking
there.
about
with
Because
the-
otherwise you guys would have just been able to go home and nobody would have been out there talking to you normally.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Any other questions or any other items for discussion?
Can I ask council a question?
Sure.
I pretty much figured out before we ever got here tonight that we have very few options available to us on this particular issue. Because the zoning ordinance lists it as a permitted use. It's not special. You've got no leeway. What would the impact be? The ordinance says it's a permitted use. If the majority of this planning commission voted no.
We did vote to deny.
Then they're just going to come back until they have a compliant development plan.
For the same product. Because we don't
Once-
have any.
And if they don't make us, they have to come back after how long of a period? If we deny it, how long do they have to go until they?
I
About
suppose
a
it'd
year.
fall under the same substantial change, but I really don't recommend that you do that unless you find a specific reason why it doesn't meet the criteria for a development plan.
Yeah, on the drum. We went through this with just right.
We did go through.
We're smarter, we're all smarter. And we set ourselves up for numerous doing, so I'm not sure that council would have our back.
Yeah, I mean, this is why we're doing the UDO. It's just, I mean, that is not what should be going into that property, but it's good use.
I do think that we need to make the residents aware that this wasn't Bargersville, that zone this way, you know, we're.
I'll let you go first.
I'll take that first.
But, you know,
Is there any kind of, I mean, would there be anywhere, anything, a case, anything nationally, when something like this happens, when the commission believes it is from an impactful standpoint with an overlay, they've inherited a zoning from another municipality or county, is there anything that?
I sincerely doubt that there is an Indiana case. I have no idea whether there would be another state
And it would need to be Indiana, is what you're saying.
to have the true precedent. Yes, it can only be informative to a judge.
Very good.
So, but why is it necessary for us to have a vote then if it doesn't matter what we?
Because you have to approve the
The actual
development plan.
in the box.
I have to do it based on that then. I don't really-
Absolutely. The use is irrelevant, truly.
Yeah.
I mean, it might inform what kind of ingress, egress you need or how much parking, but as far as the quality and whether it meets the standards. The fact that it's one use versus another was really irrelevant.
You can deny it for them not providing enough buffer, but then like she said, they're gonna use the same development plan application and add 5 more feet of buffer and then, come right back.
That's why going forward, that it is very important to leave your zonings at the raw zoning. And then that, to rezone stuff, I just never agreed with that.
Yes, yes.
And we,
And lots of
you really talked to me about that with just meadow, whatever it was. That's where it really hit me, to be honest.
So,
Which is why it's important.
granted, we're addressing it with the UDO, just, is there any other lessons learned we have here? Are there other parcels, for example, along 135 with the current zoning that we can act to rezone it? Get it to some base zone, so we force any future issues such as this one.
Property to the north of it is.
That had never been contemplated before or brought to me before, but I did notice that in the new ordinance, it contemplates the town initiating a rezone. And I do not know the particulars, but that concept does exist.
We are looking at a new zoning map with that ordinance also.
Well, the new zoning map would have prevented this from even coming to us because it's in the arterial overlay and it's prohibited use. So the efforts on the UDO anticipated this, but we're talking this little window.
They're vested in this current ordinance.
I mean, the property due north of it would fall under the same thing.
Yeah, so what if the town council suspended the ordinance? Just part
Do that?
I believe that's a further question for
I
legal.
know that I'm reaching.
But I think,
Isabel was talking.
Great research question, but I just doubt it. Doubt we can do that.
I think once it's in the process, it's in the process.
And again, Rock and Hard Place, they've already submitted their application under the ordinance. They've got the choice to do that under the, we don't have the choice to force them to pressure. And, you see the effort that they already got in.
What has to be, the property to the north, is there any rezone requests that are gonna happen?
Because it's also C3, it's also C3. So
One that's on the
we
corner.
need to hurry up on the
Well, we've done our part of it.
Yeah, I know.
So James and.
So it boils down to whether you can compress first reading, second reading.
Well, that's what I'll ask Dave. I'll email Dave. And we'll get to him.
There's, we won't be able to do it next week.
No, we don't have that quorum. Can we not get it for a vote on the UDO?
Not next week. There's some legal notice things we have to do.
Okay, okay.
As far as consideration of the ordinance.
I guess my question is,
No, I'm gonna ask you specifically what we need to do tomorrow morning.
my question is that if we have one of these issues with the C3, can the council rezone it before the UDO if it's a particular property?
Yeah, like I said, that concept was just introduced to me of the town initiating a rezone. I do not know anything about how.
Okay.
Still have to proceed through the same process. So the council could initiate rezoning. That would come through the planning commission.
By the time we
With,
get the
with
UDO.
the owner's consent, of course, right?
I don't think it's gonna be the owner's consent.
That was my.
I think there may be some other implications as far as evaluation of things.
They have to, the town council has adopted the process, so how many days has to pass until it's.
Is it effective immediately? 90 days.
My guess is.
Say 30.
I don't know if there's a cooking period.
I think there is.
I think there is.
Because of the.
Yeah, with the updated violation.
Because you have penalties.
The 90 days, right?
I think so.
Say, I think it would be 90 days for passage.
When we're talking mid-July, let's say it's passed in mid-July.
So what if like, at the end of the year before, we can really enforce it?
That's why they have the saying, moving at government.
So I tell people with stormwater complaints, we're gonna look at it. It's not gonna be fast. We're gonna look at it.
Okay. Okay, any other questions or comments? If not,
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
second.
Third, fourth,
Oh, where we get this.
Hey, Joe, anything worthwhile come out there other than lots of heat? Appreciate it.
We have a couple class, right? Access here, well, yeah, we'll bring it.
Go to the neighborhood.
Very-
Yeah.
Those are the tough ones. It happens.
They just wanted their day for it, but they did with today was the day.
And then they realize there's not much they're gonna be able to really do.
They'll get their opportunity.
Be able to speak your mind.
And withdraw.
Yeah, no, they want to put RV storage.
I didn't even
Their
get
storage
it.
facility,
That's
other side.
fine.
Yeah.
Other side.
Going down by Art Valley.
Yeah.
That we had about.
But I asked Chelsea about that.
I don't know, I mean, that's the guy that owns the RV storage and I talked to.
Yeah, Cody.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
But I also have
Also, you know, the nicer concept.
Always, like I said, always good to see it, 7 minutes.
Or the office time.
So the staff, be ready for a barrage of emails from those folks in the planning.
Oh,
Not that, yeah.
right here.